myself. Hello, good evening. It is the club call. Today, the Premier League returns. Let myself in that. The Premier League returns this weekend. Me and John are here. So if you are a Premier member and you want to give us a call, the link is there for you to give us a call and chat about anything to do with Everton or the Premier League this weekend. Are you excited, John?
Not yet.
Okay.
Saturday, 1:45.
That's when you'll be excited. When you see Michael Keane
When
captain.
the team's announced.
Okay. Fair enough. The Premier League does, of course, kick off on Friday night.
It does. Chelsea, Man United, Fulham.
Yeah. Interesting.
Is that on Sky or TNT, you know?
No, I imagine Sky.
Yeah, because they're the big partner, aren't they? So I suppose they get the first dibs.
They do.
So
Friday, Andy
Saturday,
Bickley,
Sunday.
who's a member.
Hi, Andy.
He might be our first member. Hello, Andy. Says, welcome to Top Toffees. Welcome to you, Andy. Are you excited, Andy? That's the big thing. Are you excited about this weekend? John, we done something on Premier at lunchtime regarding the side this weekend. It looks like we think it's going to be Jordan Pickford in goal.
Yes.
Ashley Young at right back.
Yes.
Vitaly Michalenko at left back.
Yes.
James Tarkowski.
Correct. Keno.
Michael Keane at centre back.
Yeah.
And then midfield will be Timmy Abunan, Drishagana Gay, Abdoulaye Doucouré, Dwight McNeil,
Jack Harrison, Dominic Calvert-Lewin.
Through the middle. If there's any one of those positions that is a flip of a coin, it's surely Michael Keane or Jake O'Brien.
Yes.
Isn't it? Now, obviously, Keane was injured at Preston. The manager said, and he hadn't trained. He obviously wasn't involved against Roma. Said he had a minor hamstring injury. Would you be risking him if he's had a minor hamstring injury for the opening day against a quick counter-attacking side, or would you go Jake O'Brien, even though he's not got Premier League experience?
Well, maybe if he is injured to the point where the sports guys say don't risk it, that makes it a non-decision for the manager. If he's trained properly, tomorrow, I guess, would be the last full training day, wouldn't it? And so the press conference will tell us, won't it? Because he'll get asked straight away, won't he? How's Michael Keane? Yeah. He said, well, we'll just come off. We'll have to see if he recovers. You know, but he's trained with the, you know. And if he says, oh, no, he's not in training, then we know it's Jake, don't we? We're biased. If he was fully fit, I'd start O'Brien. So.
Okay. Because I think every other position, people will talk about Illiman and Dye. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. Great to see him from the start. Lindstrom, I think, is a good footballer. I'd like to see him involved. But I think when it starts, I think he'll go with the safety aspect first while he tries to get the feel of the season. As he
unless someone's proved themselves as he would like them to in training, or the opposite, someone who's not been quite in training what he expects them to be. You know, and if you look at that anticipated starting team, you know, if we're right, then it's not beyond the bounds of possibility, is it? By the end of the window, 3 of them have gone in Keane and DCL, and perhaps even Doucouré if he does the Middle Eastern gig. Yeah. So you've got to play what you think is your best team on the day.
Yeah.
But if it's a flip of a coin, which was your question, if it's that close, O'Brien.
I'd go with O'Brien because I just think...
Me too.
I feel like Everton... I feel like you're trying to invest in the future, and that's what he is. He's only just turned 23. Yeah. Then get him in.
And I said it at lunchtime. For me, a nice outcome would be 1:45. You're on your phone. O'Brien's in the team and Keane's on the bench, which means he has made the decision to start O'Brien.
Rather than the injury. Yeah. Have we got Fletcher? Have we? We've got Fletcher. Let's get this in. John will sort it now, and we'll have Fletcher.
I've got one, so go for it. Yeah.
Good. Okay, Fletcher, are you there? And what do you want to say? Hello, Fletcher?
He's gone. It's in the car, I think.
He's frozen in time. That's never good, is it?
Oh, someone's sniffing.
Let it go. Fletcher, are you there? Fletcher, are you there? Okay. Fletcher isn't there at the minute. I'll keep one in just in case he unfreezes in a minute. Very much like Han Solo. I'll stay. I'm staying. I'm not going anywhere. I'm not going anywhere because obviously I'm presenting the show, so I can't. Glenn, are you there? Glenn, I can hear you loud and clear. What? Yeah, can hear him. What would you like to say, Glenn?
I can't hear a thing. Well, you and Glenn have
Johnny
a chat.
Fontaine, Mr. Business Blaine, as he's just called you, can't hear you.
Yeah.
But...
No one can hear him. So
oh, I know, he does not like that. I know. I thought you were I wouldn't call him. I wouldn't dream of calling him that because I know he's
Ped's just told you can't hear him.
I can hear Glenn. I'm having a conversation.
can't hear him.
Oh, you said no one could hear him?
Okay, Glenn, just bear with. These are just teething issues. Just bear with. Bear with.
I'm just translating for
Yeah,
you.
that's okay.
When Ped says no one can hear him, he means we
the audience can't hear him. I can hear. I can have a great conversation with Glenn. The audience can't
only
hear.
you can.
Only I can, yeah. It's not great. And me sort of repeating what Glenn is asking me won't really work either.
Does Glenn need to share something with us? You know?
Yeah.
Ped's on it, guys.
Let's...
We're going back from the other system.
Yeah, but we're changing system, aren't we, from different headphones and different system. From the React to the other.
Oh, I see.
Glenn, are you there?
Yes, I am here.
I think he's there, yeah.
Can you hear him though when he's
I
talking?
can't hear him, but I think because of the...
I can't
hear
hear.
him twice.
Yeah.
So can you hear him? Glenn, talk.
I am talking.
I can hear
Can
two
you hear me
people now.
I can't hear anyone.
Well, whoever the- shut up.
Hang on, this is really good. I can hear two different people. John can't hear anyone.
No, you should only be able to hear one person.
No, I can't. I reckon it's... I honestly think it might be Fletcher. I think Fletcher and Glenn are on.
No, there should only be one person on, and that should be Glenn.
Like Fletcher's here.
Doesn't matter to me. I can't hear anyone.
And now I don't know what Glenn... Is Glenn still there?
I'm still here.
There should only be Glenn.
But maybe Fletch wants to go first if he's...
We've got Glenn Fletcher. They're both echoing now. This is like... This is... Oh yeah, Sam says we can hear him. But I don't know who Sam can hear. Right, just say, I am Fletcher. Right, don't no one say anything else and let's see if they could hear that. That's a good way to whittle it down. John still can't hear.
Conversation with Glenn. Go on.
Right, okay, Glenn. Fletch.
No, Fletch, Glenn.
Fletcher's talking. Fletch, just pause while Glenn asks his question and then we go back to you, okay?
Oh, I feel bad for Fletcher as he was here first.
No, we're going to go, Glenn.
Yeah.
We're going to go back to Fletcher. You see your question.
I will just chat because this is
gone now?
going great. So, yeah. So, Baz, as John can't hear me, how are you feeling?
Right, hang on, fellas. Right, just...
on?
They're both on. I'm telling, just shut up. Right, let's just
Ped's
pause
losing it.
until I say... Fletcher's
He was
gone.
told to be quiet and he couldn't.
Right, Glenn, what is your question, mate? Sorry, this is...
Oh dear.
It's a
Come on,
real
mate.
anti-climax question now after all that build-up, but I just wanted to know how you're feeling about this
I can
season
still hear
at this
Fletcher.
stage.
Fletcher? Oh, they're all getting
I think it's
bounced
just
about.
me being an echo. I think Fletch would...
Right, hang
could
on.
never
Did you
get
hear
a shot
them
at any
now?
point.
Right, Glenn counts to 3 for us.
There's only Glenn.
Uno, dos, tres.
Glenn.
Oh no, that's
Yes,
tres.
1, 2, 3.
Glenn isn't there now.
Hello. What would you like to talk about?
Can you hear Glenn now?
Well, I heard him count 1, 2, 3.
Okay, I can't hear anything.
John,
Glenn.
how are you feeling about this season? If you can hear me.
I can hear you. Are you in a?
I can't hear him, so you speak to him. I could hear all of them, now I can't hear any of them. So,
Somebody else is on
they're
now.
dead. The headphones are dead.
They're not dead.
Somebody else is on now as well.
Don't mess about with the boxes, whatever you do.
I haven't touched the
Don't
box.
mess about with the boxes.
Oh my god. This
Amateur
is worse than on the buses.
It's worse than lunchtime. This is
Right, pause. Brian said we can hear Dick L now. Right.
Come on.
People aren't talking, then how are we going to hear them? Glenn, talk.
I keep talking. I keep saying the same question.
No.
I'm talking to 1, 2,
Can't hear
3,
anything.
and people can't hear me at all. So,
Right,
you tell
Glenn,
me what to
pause.
do, Ben.
Glenn, have you got
I know why. Because
Anything turned up?
No, he's coming through.
No. Fletch, I can hear you. I can hear Glenn. Okay, but that doesn't really work at the moment because I think Ped's trying to just everyone just pause.
Tell people to be quiet.
You were quiet. Oh my god, this is class. This is class. Oh, sorry.
Do you think I nearly went home?
That is looking fantastic. Right, I can hear Glenn without any reverb now. So Fletch, you just button it for a minute while Glenn's... Right, that's it. Okay, I can hear Glenn clearly now. Can you hear... You can't hear anything, can you? Because you haven't got your things in.
I think they're not charged.
No, because you could hear him, though, couldn't you? But I couldn't hear
but
him.
I only heard him for 10 seconds.
I know, because he stopped talking, I think.
Okay, I'll try again.
Right, Glenn, what do you want to say, mate? Sorry, come on, start again.
There you go.
No, I can't hear him.
You commence. I can, Glenn. Yes. Oh, I'm far more chilled than I was in previous seasons. Yeah. But of course, the real damage in previous seasons was during the season, wasn't it? Yeah. But yeah, I think we're in a better place, mate. I really do. Well, yeah. Well, Baz loses it. Yeah.
I'm losing it because now people can't hear Glenn. But you can.
Well, me and you were having a great chat, mate. Right.
God. Oh my. People, I said yesterday on Premier how much I hate this show.
Okay.
And now people...
I'm talking to Glenn.
Yeah, go on. You have your own conversation. No one else can hear you, so it's fine.
But when Ped sorts it, then they'll get to hear what we've. Somebody shouting, "Can you hear me now, Baz?"
Oh no. Oh my god, this is amazing.
Oh, Fletch is on again.
This is why I like wired headphones, by the way.
Yeah. We'll just get decent ones. Sorry, go ahead, Glenn.
Oh my god, it's amazing.
And guys, hang on a minute. We're just gonna have to stop because Fletcher's talking to me and Glenn's talking to me at the same time.
Fletcher, stop talking.
Someone counts to 5. Glenn, count to 5.
Glenn's there, he's okay, but Fletcher's there as well.
Right, now I can hear Glenn. Can you hear Glenn?
No.
Shut up.
I can't hear anything. Ped's changing things.
I'm not changing anything.
Well, I would suggest these have now gone. These have gone blank. These have run out of battery again. Pointless.
Can you hear them?
I can hear Glenn now.
Right, John, put them on.
Now try it again, John.
Left.
It's all right, put it. It doesn't matter as long as you can hear. Right, speak, Glenn. Just talk. It doesn't matter what you're saying. Don't ask your full question. Just speak so we can just see. Are you talking, Glenn?
I can hear Glenn.
Right, so basically what it's doing is it's only playing to one person.
Yeah, it's because
I haven't touched it.
It's because the headphones are getting open and shut.
I haven't touched it. Right, can you hear Glenn now?
At the moment, but Glenn's not talking. Yeah.
Right, so
he's waiting to be told it's okay.
Like Glenn, I'd appreciate it if you just spoke and didn't stop talking. It doesn't matter what you're saying.
Let's have a chat then, Glenn. Go for it.
Right, I can hear him now and John can hear him.
But nobody else can.
Yes, sir. Fletcher, do us a favour, mate. Don't say anything, yeah?
We will come to you, Fletcher, promise you.
We're doing technical diagnostics. We're doing technical diagnostics on the fly. My target... Yeah.
Right, I'll tell you what we'll do then. Right, Glenn is... Like, the audience must be able to hear us talking.
Yeah.
Right, so Glenn's question to you, John.
Yes.
I'll do it like this.
Okay.
Is, What is your target now? Now?
Yes.
For the end of the season?
Yeah, he said, what was my target and the stretch target?
The stretch target,
yeah. My target would be 10% more points than we got last season, which means, 48 plus 10%. So call that 5, call it 53 points, I think. And that's that. You might say that's the stretch target, but I think that is what we should have done. And the way Baz would answer that would say, well, we went months and months and months without winning a game. Therefore, we should be able to get those extra 5 points. So I think that would be a good result. And I think that's a solid mid-table result. It's probably at the top half of the bottom half, if that makes sense. Stretch target would be to push on and try and get in and around the Conference League places, wouldn't it? And if you look at the proximity in points from last season, it's not too much of a stretch. It's maybe another 5+ points that would get you in the shout for that. So base target, 10% more points than last season. Stretch target in the league would be the conference, but perhaps the stretch target is really to go deeper and try and get to a League Cup final or something. There you go. How about you? No, I think so. And me and Baz were talking about this earlier today. When you look at last season, the places which were roughly below Man United, so maybe 9th to 15th, you could throw a blanket over them, you know. So that points haul might be anywhere between 9th and 13th, 14th, probably, in this forthcoming season. So I think for me, if you started then distilling it down as to how do you want those points to come along, I want them to come along regularly. Yeah, I don't want people having jokes that we only play when it's dark, you know. So, you know, I don't want to get a load of points, you know, in 6, 7, 8, 9 games, then do bugger all for 3 months, and then get a bucket load of points again. If we bring those points along, the 48 to 53 outcome for the whole season at a decent pace, come March, with no chance of relegation. And that's what we want, isn't it? We want to have an easier end of season. And if you think about it, we did it a little bit sooner this last season than we did the season before. And the target should be to do it even earlier this time. And that means you can't have a big period when we draw a handful of games but don't win any. I mean, that was horrific last season. So yes, a nice quiet season. And I think if we did bring points along with regularity, the stress levels will drop off a little bit. We have put some depth into the squad, even though we're lacking some areas, and no doubt we'll come on to that. And that's what we really need there. The stretch for the manager is to make more effective use of player rotation so that we don't get fatigued, we don't get injuries. And that might leave us, if we get decent draws, being able to go reasonably deep into some of these competitions. Because whilst we know the heavies come along near the end and sweep up, every season, lesser teams than us get really quite deep into the competition. And, you know, we could do that. I'd be very happy. There you go. Well, I certainly think there's more we can get out of this current squad. And I think the manager himself limits the use of the squad by not picking players. You know, we know he's the sort of man who doesn't make substitutions. If he thinks the game's going the way we want it to go, and everything's on a level footing, Baz is laughing his head off for some reason. I don't know what's up now. You can see him, can't you, Glenn? He's lost it again.
I can see Glenn. I'm not being funny, like, no one can hear. So
that's what I'm trying to fix.
I know, but this conversation is not working.
It's one-sided.
Nobody can hear him. So I'm going to there's no point even having the conversation.
No.
Because nobody can hear him.
No one could hear.
It's boss that Glenn's there, and he looks amazing. And we should do that more often. It looks so good. But
you can't hear what Glenn's saying. That conversation is pointless. You just hear my half.
Like, can I also say this, right? Ned is boss, right? We've had plenty of this with Ned when he hasn't got a clue what's going on, as the last few weeks shown. So you can't have a go. It's not ped. It's different stuff. But this is, as Agent Ancelotti said, this is definitely carry-on Toffee TV. Isn't it?
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Put yourself on camera, please.
Right.
Yeah.
He's trying to sort it, isn't he?
Yeah.
Like, there's no point carrying on with Glenn.
No, there isn't.
Just because,
Sorry, Glenn.
Just because you and Glenn haven't... I can hear you, Glenn, and it's a great back and forth, but nobody else can, which means it's useless for everybody else who's watching,
true.
isn't it? So, top man, nice one, Glenn, for getting in, for coming on, mate. If we fix it, we'll get you back. All right, cheers, pal.
Glenn. Take care, mate.
Later. I think what Glenn was saying there was about the commercial side as well, and don't put them back in because
No, it messes that up there.
The commercial side, the only way our targets become better is create more money, get better.
Well, always, more money always brings more, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But what he was saying was, can we do squad rotation and can we make use of what we have, or is the answer we have to have more money? And of course, more money will make the world a better place. Yeah. But I don't think this manager extracts full value from the whole squad. He extracts value from a limited number of players, doesn't he? Which means that, you can almost look at it in the pre-season sense. And I know you've mentioned it more than once. We play Seamus, he gets injured. We put Ashley Cole on. Ashley Cole, we wish. Ashley Young. Yeah. We don't learn anything because we know what he is and all that good stuff. And you've got a young right back sitting there going, why can't I have a go? Yeah, and if something happens to Ashley, then he's going to have a go. He's going to get blooded in the Premier League, isn't he? Yeah. So if you've got a manager who likes to work, let's call it with a small match day squad, which is probably smaller than the amount of subs he's allowed to have. Yeah. So for him, it's 15 players. It's not 20. Yeah. Then we need him to be bold for him. It's bold for him, not necessarily bold for other managers. Is to trust in some of those players at certain times in the game. And rather than running players into the ground, we've seen DCL play most of the minutes in pre-season, for example, which is great if he needs to get match fitness. But maybe that's a sign of the fact that he is over his injuries because we're not concerned. Remember the days when, if he said, "Oh, I don't feel so good today, Gaffer," and 6 weeks later he plays a game, sort of thing. And now we're running him into the ground, and we are reliant on a limited number of players where there's no cover. Which is where you get into, well, why haven't we tried to provide some cover at left back? Are we really relying on 2 30-plus-year-olds? Because let's be blunt, even if Patterson was fit, do you think he'd be playing?
Doctor.
So we're into all that. So the answer can't be just to allow Sean Dyche to buy more of the players that he likes. And that's where Kev has to put his foot down, I guess, and say, if we're going to buy young players, we're going to buy to attributes, be it age, physicality, size, in other words, and pace and stuff like that. We've got to use them. Yeah. And if their style of play or their attributes are not fully exploited, rather, in your style of play, you need to change your style of play. It needs to be a bit more expansive. You've got to be able to accommodate an Ndiaye who might be a bit up and down, but can be electric, as we've seen in pre-season. And therefore, opposition need to have a bit of jeopardy in their planning, because right now, planning to play Everton's easy. You know exactly what the team's going to be. Yeah. You know exactly how they're going to play. And as long as, the game is going in a certainly predictable way, the manager won't change his thoughts. And when he does make changes, they're like for like. We're drawing a game 1-1, we want to win. Taking off Dominic and bringing on Beto might not make much difference if you're going to play the rest of the game exactly the same. And then Ndiaye in particular, I think perhaps he's the only one, is he? There's a game-changing type player there, isn't there? So, and I don't think that just necessarily needs more money. That means that, different think from the manager and his coaching staff.
Yeah, I've seen a couple of things, people saying, Everton aiming to be sort of like mid-table, whatever, is part of the problem now with the club now, is that our aims are so low, our expectations are so low.
People saying that on...
Yeah, a few people there, and, having a if everything goes well, we might be able to have a go at trying to get in the Conference League, and that's poor from Everton, that's the problem. How high can we realistically aim, though, with the level of play we've got? And that's the issue, isn't it? Because we've both seen Everton be the very best in England, and the best in Europe. or Europe, the competition we were in, we were the best in, we won it. So we've seen that. But how high can you aim? Because it'd be ridiculous to sit here and go, we want to win the league, that's what we're going for. Everyone aims to win the league on day one, because you never know. You've got to have a little bit of hope. But the reality is, I'm not going to win the league. I'm not going to get in the top 4. They're just facts. I mean, unless everything is perfect.
Yeah, well, Glenn's question was good, and shame no one heard it, right? Because what he said is, what do you think you would, or what would you assess as what would you assess as a target, and what would the stretch target be? Right, and part of the answer was, well, maybe my base target is a stretch target, because what I said, people wouldn't have heard it, is we went 48 points last season, so automatically I want 10% more points. That's 53. At 53 points, you're within 10 points of a European position, right? Now, if some people who are watching are going, well, that's part of the problem, John, because you're not saying we're aiming for the Premier League. Well, no, I am, but I'm not. Of course, you would start a season saying, wouldn't it be great if? But let's be honest, we are not getting within 25 to 30 points of Manchester City in this season. Therefore, we're not going to win the league, because anyone who wins the league is going to have to get more points than they get, right? So, and I love Nev Southall when he says, you've got to aim to, but that's a philosophy rather than an expectation. If Nev was sat here and he said, where do you think we're going to finish in the league, and it hasn't even started, he wouldn't say, well, we're going to win it, because he knows that's not true. Right? So the reality is, as a football club, right now, we are mid-table by squad, and we were also mid-table when we were nearly getting relegated. So the first thing is, deliver against what you've got, right? Now, how far can you go? Leicester City survived relegation by having a crazy last 10 games, won the league the following season. But they had blinding pace in their team, in Vardy, right?
And they had luck.
And luck.
No injuries.
They had no injuries. Everyone performed above what they're really capable of. They've reverted to norm 2 seasons later, because the following season they were in Champions League, crest of a wave, all that sort of stuff, and then within 5 seasons,
they won the FA Cup, and then it
absolutely, and then within 5 seasons they're relegated, right? So the answer to the question, how far can we go, is you can go all the way to the top, but you have to need such a perfect alignment of the stars. Back in the day, when it wasn't that long ago, but it's probably longer than people remember, realise really, when Leicester won it, there was only 2 or 3 clubs who could get up there. We've just talked earlier today about there's probably 8 clubs based on their points position last season and then strengthening their teams this season who think they can get it, that extra place in the Champions League. If there's 4, and we assume City, Arsenal and Liverpool are getting the first 3, 8 clubs can go for Champions League. Well, surely that means, in a way, 8 clubs think they might win the league. Pete Molyneux, when I did a podcast with him, he thinks Manchester United have a chance of winning the league. No one outside of a Man United fan necessarily believes that. But would you say a club of that size, with some of the players they've got, can't win the league? You might say,
I think it's very unlikely.
Well, that's the point, but that's not the same.
You can't say they can't.
Exactly. And so if you did probability of them winning the league, it wouldn't be very high.
No.
And our probability of winning it ahead of them would be even lower. So we have to be honest with ourselves. Now, the other thing which you often ask things like, well, are you excited yet? And I said, well, it doesn't happen to me until the team comes out. The same logic says, which teams in this league, when the game starts at Goodison Park, are we absolutely certain if we play our game, they'll beat us? And the answer is 3 or 4, maximum. Therefore, you take it game by game. Our issue is, we'll get beat by Brighton, and then we'll go to bloody Tottenham and lose to Tottenham. And then we'll all be stressed for the Bournemouth game and get a draw. When the reality is, we should be going out saying, this is our ground. Our fans are amazing. It's a new season. It's the last season at Goodison Park. We're going to beat Brighton. Now, if the culture of the organisation is, and it may be led by the manager, that, you know what, a draw with Brighton, they're a good team. They've spent a lot of money. Isn't that bad, is it? It's better than last season. And so on. But part of it is mindset. And if the mindset of the club is, as it has been in recent times, just stay in the division, then let's not be surprised if we finished, 17th or something. What, we thinking it works now? Oh, good.
Let's have a look.
Days.
Hello?
Hello?
Hello.
Hello? Bill?
Hello. Hi.
Can you hear me, Bill?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Just been there.
He was there, but I could hear him, but he can't hear me. I heard him saying hello.
I can hear you.
Thought Vicky Michelle
I
was
can
there.
hear you.
Right, you can hear me, Bill. Can you hear him?
I can hear him. But
Yeah,
I
I
was
can
just
hear
going
breathe.
to ask the question. What
hear
are your
reverb.
potential positives going into the season, and what are your concerns going into the season about the squad?
Okay.
You get that?
Yeah, got it. Potential.
Maybe translate that if people can't hear me.
No, we can hear you now. So, right. So, what are the potential positives going into the season, and what are the concerns? Was that the question?
Yeah, I can give you mine if you want.
Go on. Yeah, you go yours. Give us
better.
your opinion.
Okay. I think Tim Irabunum looks good.
Agreed.
Positive.
Yeah.
Ndai, it looks positive as well.
Yeah.
Concerns the fullback situation. I've been going on about this for a while.
Okay.
Because we got two injury-prone fullbacks. We got Coleman and Patterson, haven't we? And
Yeah.
he doesn't fancy Patterson.
Correct.
And then we've got a 39-year-old
Yeah.
called Ashley Young, who's probably going to have to play on Saturday.
Yeah.
And then at
definitely.
left back, we've got one left back. Mikolenko's good. And no cover. Well, Young again. So really, we're relying a lot on a 39-year-old. That's my fear.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
So can we bring anybody in on loan or free? I don't know.
Can we? Probably. Just maybe. Depends. all of the above. I think you're right. I think the issue will be, me and John have said this week, is that if Ashley Young or Mikolenko pick an injury up this week, then he's got to turn to a 17-year-old at right back who he's hardly given a kick. He's had some games, but Saturday against Roma was the perfect time to use him, and he didn't use him. So it's the fragility of that position is Mikolenko gets injured, Young plays there, doesn't he? If they both get injured, we're knackered because Ben Goffley's gone.
Mm-hmm.
So we're in trouble, aren't we? So you're right, we are they wanted Ricardo Rodriguez, the wages thing scuppered it a little bit because we have to get people out the door. So that's one of the worry areas, obviously, a fullback.
So it might be a late one. If it happens.
Yeah, and I imagine they will be looking. They are looking to do that. I think the manager wants 3 more players in, but I think the reality of it is, without sales, we might be able to get 1. And I imagine I think it'll be Calvin Phillips personally. I think that story hasn't gone anywhere. Normally, when that happens, there's more.
So who's he going to play instead of?
Irabunum.
So we bought a player not to play him.
Oh, but it's long-term stuff, isn't it?
No, I get it.
This manager does it, because if it wasn't, I don't think you can go, well, who will he play instead of? Because Garner's 35. James Garner's got a calf injury. Could be 3 weeks. It could be 3 months.
No, I get that.
Then all of a sudden you're back. Then so he wants him, and it's gone on all summer. That's clear. He wants him. So
no, I get that. But if you have a player, and Tim's been bit of a heavy word, perhaps, at the start of pre-season, in the sense that he's looked very solid. He's been standout player and stuff like that. And we're saying, almost at the depth, we're going to bring in a guy who was a really good player before he went to Man City. Has had very few minutes in real terms at City, but won lots of medals. Did bugger all at West Ham, but this manager fancies him, which means Tim goes on the bench, and if Ashley Young gets injured, we're buggered. That doesn't sound like good planning to me. What's the delta? It's rhetorical, but what's the delta between having Calvin Phillips in your team instead of Tim? Is that such an uplift? You take the risk of fundamentally, hopefully Seamus plays right back, Miko plays left back, and Ashley Young's the cover for both. It's almost like that's the plan, isn't it?
Yeah, seems
right?
like that, yeah.
Patterson, whether he's fit or not, the manager doesn't fancy him, so perhaps makes life easy for him that he's injured, because he doesn't get the question every week then. And I don't know when Patterson is due to be fit, do you? What's his recovery time, right?
Training this week, apparently.
Okay, so if he's training this week, maybe the manager's going to find himself in a situation one day where, as has happened to managers in the past, that young player who you don't fancy gets an extended run in the team, You know, and he gets the opportunity to expose what you've been missing. You talked about it earlier today that, you know, some of his big chance creation, he's you know, 2 old guys, if you like, that the manager favours ahead of him, put together, don't do what he does, but the manager's just decided he's not for me. What the heck is the director of football there for then? When we're getting Tim, are we really saying the short amount of funds that we've got, we're going to spend on a player we're not going to use? And that's the bogey around. Chimity's a similar example. Yeah, okay, he's injured at the moment, but we bought a young lad for the future. And if he wasn't injured, perhaps he'd be more involved now. But even so, I think that there is an element of, in the circumstances we find ourselves, it is a difficult balancing act between the now and the future. But it should always be favouring the now.
Well, if he's favouring the now, that's why he's going for Phillips.
Don't get Tim then.
He got it.
So Dyche is much more about experience, isn't he?
No, I get that, mate. Yeah, you're absolutely right. And he likes Premier League experience and so on. Sorry, that's what I meant was, don't get Tim. Use that money to get someone better than Phillips.
But it doesn't work like that, does it? Let's be honest.
You need a squad, though, don't you, as well?
Of course you do. Yeah.
Tim Irabunam's, he was brought in. The manager said at the time, he was brought in to just be a squad player and to grow. He's 21. Just turned 21.
No, I get that.
The fact is he's in because James Garner's injured.
No, I get that.
And so the Calvin Phillips thing.
He'll end up playing.
No, well, he will be. He'll play now because James Garner's not fit. So he'll get in. But James Garner got in over Amadou Onana.
Yeah.
So James Garner will get in over Tim Irabun in the minute he's fit because the manager trusts him.
But what we'll have then, presumably, excluding injuries, is the starting 2 DMs, and he's obsessed with having 2 of them, not 1. You know, but 2 DMs would be Garner, right, and Garner, and then you'll have first change Phillips and Tim's 4th choice. Yeah, I just think, you know, depending on what the total cost around that is it looks like you're trying to oil and water it when, you know, it's neither fish nor fowl. Maybe it's just me.
I think for 9 million though, he's a decent pickup, wasn't he? And he seems to be able to carry the ball as well.
He does, yeah.
Oh, he looks very good.
Other midfielders can't do so. My other thing is, as you mentioned many times, Baz, and I'm ringing up because you said nobody rings up, so I'm ringing up.
Good lad.
You see what happens when people ring up, though? It all falls apart.
Sound up.
Yeah, it's great.
I don't know what Glenn's thinking.
Cheers,
I'm worried about him, really.
Glenn's all right. Go on.
No, I was just going to say about pace. You've obviously mentioned it constantly. And my fear is a little bit that Ndai's going to end up as a winger. I mean, I think he can play as a winger and he'll sort of drift in, but I think that kind of explosive pace would
I knew what you
pace would really change our team, wouldn't it? Because counter-attacking is all about pace in this league. So I just think that one player, whoever it is, would be good.
No, you're absolutely right. I mean, I'm bored everyone for probably years now with the same moan that we don't get any pace, and it doesn't matter who's here. We still continue to do it.
I was trying to think who was the last pacey player we had. It was Gray, really, wasn't it?
Yeah. I said that. I found myself saying yesterday. I missed Amari Gray, and that's a sentence I never thought I'd say. Just because he had a little bit of pace and he popped the goal in from nowhere.
He could carry us up the pitch, couldn't he? And it gives other players space as well. If you're playing Harrison McNeil, which is, as you going back to John's argument about tried and trusted and all that, then you're sort of limiting yourself a little bit. It probably works at home, like when ground out a result, but away from home, I think we do need that pace. But again, it goes back to moving people on, doesn't it? I suppose.
Well, I mean, look at Safran's just said there, Brighton looking very good with Minter and Matoma on the wings. You just beat Villarreal 3-0 at the Amex. Well, that's it. But neither of them had Premier League experience. Exactly. Matoma come for buttons.
What is it about Everton and Premier League experience? Are we just in a state of like risk averse, or you think?
It's the manager.
It's an old school manager.
Yeah, regardless of whether you like Sean Dyche or you don't, and whether you think he's done a good job or you don't, he's done a job in very difficult circumstances, which is what I'd say for him, and he did well last season. Let's be honest, in a stable club, he wouldn't have still been here because he wouldn't have been allowed to go 4 months without winning a game, but he did, and he recovered really well. his MO is not to lose, which is fine. It's career. It's what you do with it, and he's took that approach.
Absolutely.
You can't. I'm not going to sit here and say he should be playing 5 up front and he should forget about what he's used to and just got, because that isn't what he got the job for. So we can bemoan it as fans and go, well, I wish we'd do this and I wish we'd do this. So his thing is not quite the same as what we sort of want. But he would say, well, yeah, I got 48 points last season with limited players, and therefore, if I do it again, without the 4 months, without winning a game kind of thing, if it's spread out a little bit, if Everton post 48 points again, they'll be between 11th and 14th, and we'll be a Premier League club going into the new stadium.
We'll be last year's Palace or whatever. We'll be Palace.
Exactly. That's what we'll be.
I would take. Yeah, I'm fine with that. The position we're in, I get it, but I don't expect like scintillating football. I just think if you're a counter-attacking team and you've got lack of pace, that's just.
You're not going to do much counter-attacking. Yeah.
No,
I think just a couple of the comments as well. People saying, "Would you take 17?" I mean, where's that coming from? I just don't get that. I don't get that. Everton got 48 points last season, with 2 points deductions, losing the first 4 home games and not winning a football match for 4 months.
No way.
And still got 48 points. There's not a chance I'm taking 17th. It's between 11th and 14th, and if it's lower than that, the manager's not done his job, and these players haven't done the job.
That's the fear of the new season of an Everton fan, isn't it? That's what that is.
No, but people, there's a flip, isn't
I agree. You should be lower mid-table or aiming for mid-table.
Should be aiming for. I'm not being funny. His target has got to be better than last season. It's got to be, because otherwise, what's the point?
It has to be a points target.
Got to be.
Because your position in the league,
49 points then. It's got to be the target, and then if you can get more, great.
Well, go back to Glenn's.
You'd hope, because haven't got the points deduction situation.
Exactly.
Because that might release a bit of the fear, because I think that really hit us, didn't it, over Christmas last year, for sure. So,
I mean, you look at the
a better season anyway, lads.
And Bill, without a shadow.
Mate, it will be.
Goodison, hopefully, this Christmas time sometime.
But look at, Bill, before you go, when we beat Burnley in April, we'd won 3 home games at Goodison Park in April. Right, and we finished great. We won 5 on the run, including Derby, and we showed what Goodison is. The other games, we'd won 2 in 4 days in December, which was Newcastle and Chelsea, and the other one was Bournemouth in September. If Everton just done an average Everton season, we should. For me, this football club with this horrible fan base that it can be at Goodison and make it horrible for people, should be winning no less than 10 home games.
I agree.
No less than 10. Right? And Moyes used to win 13 or 14 home games.
Yeah.
That's right.
Right? And that you can lose 4 or 5 then against great sides and get the odds draw. We should be able to win 10 home games this season. More, I think, but that should be the limit. And the limit should be 6 away games. That's still allowing you not to win in 13 matches, which is ridiculous. If Everton did that, there's 48 points straight off the bat without draws. And that's to me isn't like an unbelievable season. That's just like an average team season. So, let's
got to score more goals. Though.
Absolutely we have. We can't rely fully on being as good defensively, because we were incredible rather defensively. Sorry, we were really good, incredible. We were really good. But you're right. But listen, the thing is, it's about doing it. It's easy for me to sit here and go, we'll get 49 points comfortably. You've got to go and do it. But all you can do is take the year before.
But we do. But you just said we finished to prove what Goodison and the team itself can do. 5 wins on the bounce at home, right?
And didn't concede a goal.
To finish the season. Look at our 5 first fixtures at home and tell me which one you don't think we should win.
Should win, because people will go, we shouldn't. Why should we?
Pre-season.
But we can. We can win, yeah.
No,
so
okay.
We got Brighton, Bournemouth,
Newcastle. They're in there. Fulham are in there.
Fulham definitely should be beat.
Let me tell you then. August. Home to Brighton, of course. Followed by Bournemouth.
Yeah.
Next home game is Crystal Palace.
Yeah, should be beating them.
Yeah. Next home, Newcastle. We've beaten them before.
We can beat them, but it's a tough game. But
and then Fulham.
Okay, so me just straight today, just looking at it, I'd say 4 wins and a draw.
Yeah.
From them.
Yeah.
That to me, I'd go, that's a good start.
And guess what? If we've got the 4 wins when Fulham come to town, we'll get 5.
Well, of course, but what I'm saying
but
is...
that's the point I'm making, therefore. We're saying we finished with 5 home wins. We could, because you don't like me saying would or should or whatever, could start with 5 home wins. That would be 10 home wins on the bounce.
So just off the top of my head, Everton don't do that. So therefore we won't win 5 home games. But if Everton won, even if Everton won 3 and drew 2 of those first 5, there's 11 from 15.
Better than last year, though.
Well, exactly. You're right, mate. We have. Because don't forget, we've just, Anyway, Bill, that was lovely and clear and really good questions. So thank you very much for joining us. All right, take it easy. Who've we got next, Pedro? Cheers, Bill. Bye, man.
Bye.
Okay. Hello, who are you? What do you want to say? Fletch, hear me now. Go on, mate. Go on, mate.
They can't hear him.
I can.
Is going to be, how much is it going to be, is it going to impact on our season, are we going to get relegated? And I just hope we don't. I'm so annoyed as well, because it's a blatant double standards going on at the moment between Everton, who have to deal with their points deductions head on, and it just seems like City and Chelsea are just dealing with it in the courts, and they're just trying to stall emotions. So to get for the rule change, things like that, so it covers themselves, and it's just, it's a complete double standard, if you ask me.
John?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't worry about it, to be honest. Let's take
don't worry about it.
No, well, let's give a reason, right? Do right. 2 things first. It might get a bit winded, this, but if you remember at the last independent commission that we got, there was a dispute between the Premier League and Everton Football Club about the treatment of the interest on a new stadium. Yeah?
Yeah.
And the judge said, we can't deal with that now. We'll deal with it later. Right? And that's where you get...
But isn't it over the same time period as well? Aren't Everton trying to say that it's over the same time period, like we've already been punished for it?
Well,
we punished for it twice.
Yeah, well, let's just do it one... Yeah, so, yeah, absolutely. Let's do it one step at a time, though. It is.
Right.
It's FY 21, 22 and 23, which are all in the past, yeah? Right. Then you get disgraced Red Tops presented a story that sounds like it's new news that Everton would go into the season with the anticipation of another point to freak out people in general. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So the state of play on that is there's no sign right now, no sign at all that that's going to court at the moment. Okay.
Right.
That inevitably means if it does go to court, to an independent commission, it'll happen during the season. And if we're found, if we're found to be wrong, then we'll get a points deduction, won't we? Because that's how it works, right?
How much do you think it would be if it was any? If we do get a points deduction, how many points do you think it'll be this time around?
Yeah, and that's what I was doing. If we go through the logic of this, and then we end up with the judge saying, and therefore the answer is a points deduction. But of course, this is in the same period as we've already suffered points deductions, right?
But isn't it something minuscule as well? I think it's only something like 16 million this time around. It's like it's a fraction, an absolute fraction of what we've been accused of recently.
Well, okay, well, the number, it's all in the result of the independent commission. And tomorrow, actually, I've written an article on this for our Substack, so you can probably read about this if you want.
Yeah.
But it's the worst case scenario is that we have breached in the past the Premier League's PSR rules by around £23 million that we have not been punished for. That we have not been punished for, right?
Right.
And they got the ump because we changed our accounting practices fully within the rules of international standards and stuff. And therefore, the bar for the Premier League to get over, if they do try to take us to court, is that they believe that we haven't done the right thing. And we will argue we're following international accounting practices.
Yeah.
They just seem to...
I don't understand it, though, Blaine, because I just don't understand how City can get tied up in the courts and just be in the courts for season after season. And then now they're only just starting to sort of say to the process, right? This process needs to be speeded up now. And they've managed to get away with it for so long, essentially, while Everton have had to deal with it head on in the courts.
Well,
points deduction after
yeah.
points deduction.
Well,
I don't understand the logic. It's a complete double standard. I don't understand how they can treat one club one way and Everton the other.
Well, there's a couple of things.
Chelsea as well.
There's a couple of things around that, and there's Leicester City to be dealt with as well. Yeah, there are double standards.
Relegated, couldn't they?
Well, yeah, probably likely to as well, I would imagine. But if we just close this out, close the Everton one out. So that's the first thing, right? Then the other thing that might cost us point deductions during the next season, just like every other club, is that when we put our accounts in for financial year 24, which is the financial year that ended in June just gone, that we've breached PSR, right? And no, that's the process. That's as you just. Yeah, absolutely. And I'll comment on that in a sec. But that's what you talked about, the accelerated process. That means you provide your accounts at the back end of this year. They review them. They call everyone to court, or they announce who's going to court in January, February time. You go to court in March. You get found guilty or innocent in April. And if you get done and it's a points deduction, it's applied straight away. And that's what happened to Everton last year. And it's what happened.
As long as it doesn't interfere with our season, that's one thing Everton have been good at. It's just getting on with it, like I've been saying. It's just the constant threat of point deduction. It's like, can we just get on with the football?
Yeah.
Can we just get on with because we've got a new stadium to get into next season. We want to be in the Premier League for that season. We want to stay in the Premier League for the new stadium. We've got big ambitions as a club, right? And you can see that in terms of who wants to buy Everton as well.
Of course,
the people coming out to buy Everton, the people interested in Everton. Right, and this points deduction, it's overshadowing us slightly.
Well, it's not. Stop, mate. Yeah,
but
just give me.
We're quite stern as well to just be getting on with it.
Yeah, give me a sec. Right. Yeah, absolutely.
Right,
no, you're right, and the passion's brilliant. Right. So the only way we're going to breach, I spoke to some people at the club literally in the last week or so, and as far as the club are concerned, we have not breached in this most recent financial year, the profitability and sustainability rules, right? Now, I would suggest that straight away, that's Everton's view. It's not necessarily the Premier League's view. And I would also suggest that the huge amounts of money we've been spending on the stadium to get it finished, which attract interest payments and so on, which is the thing that's under dispute.
And the local community, etc.
All that, right? Then we're following the same international accounting practices for this most recent financial year as we did for FY23 and we did for FY21/22. And those other years are the years the Premier League don't like what we've done. If they didn't like what we've done then, they don't like what we've done now, right? So the whole scam here from a Premier League point of view is you prove, Premier League, that Everton complying with international accounting standards, that all the auditors have signed off, just because you want them to be wrong doesn't make them wrong.
It does still sound pretty simple. It does still sound 50-50 to me on a points deduction, though, because from Everton's point of view, it's about luck in this process as much as anything.
No, it's not about luck at all. No.
By a lot of the time.
No, it's not about luck at all, right? It's about get your case prepared in an appropriate way, and then going to court, having your day in court, forcing the opposition, which in this case is the Premier League, to prove that you have broken the rules, and then you deal with the consequences, right? So let's do the worst case scenario, which is what you're really asking about. So the worst case scenario is we lose all those battles, right? And
get the extra point deduction for the. I'd rather, if anything, I'd rather it just be completely clear. Like the past few years, in terms of Everton's overspend, I'd rather it just be completely cleared off in a one. But they're not even doing that because they're constantly going back and forth.
Well, no, they're following the processes, which is a 3-year cycle. Yeah, and the 3-year cycle means. Yeah, so which means as every year, financial year finishes, call it like when the season finishes, you effectively, that's the 3rd year of a new 3-year cycle. And if you've broken...
So is this going to be the last one then?
No, it goes on every year. There's another 3-year cycle. Now, what happened?
3-year cycle.
But what happened?
Is it the last one of the 3-year cycle, though?
It's the last year of a 3-year cycle. It's also the
new one starts.
It's also the 2nd year of another 3-year cycle and the 1st year of another 3-year. So it will go on. However, and this is where Everton perversely have a little bit of kudos and if you want to call it good luck, is the financial year that will be assessed at the end of this year and early into next year is FY23, 24, 23 and 22, yeah? And we've already been punished
we
for...
should have known this when we're selling our best players, though, like our best asset. Like with Richarlison, we were sold him on the cheap as well. It's just we should have understood that we could be in this situation,
mate.
When we're selling our best players.
Mate, we sold him so we wouldn't breach it by an even bigger number and get an even bigger punishment.
We're building a ground, don't forget, which costs a lot of money.
Exactly.
We're building a 700. Yeah, we're spending 750 million pounds on a stadium, and the Premier League, with their double standards, are coming after us. And as you say, are sitting on the hands about Chelsea at the moment. Although we're
exactly, that's exactly what it is. It's just sitting on the hands.
Although we're told that'll come out pretty soon. And
in January, did they say?
No, I think it's sooner than that. I think that it's saying that case is, well, they're implying that case is drawing to a conclusion. I mean, it's over a year since UEFA punished Chelsea for the same thing. Or it will be over a year before Chelsea play a game anyway, so it's in the next week or so. And Masters, as recently as yesterday, was saying, I'm not telling you when the City one's starting.
Is the 150 for Manchester City, is the 115 charges too big to breach? Is it too big to relegate them, or is it too big to punish them? Because it is absolutely, in comparison to us, ginormous. It's completely unprecedented.
It is,
I just get the feeling the reason why they haven't punished City yet is because it's almost too big to punish.
Well, if you remember, one of the reasons that Everton's case last year was delayed, right, and wasn't done in time to be done in the previous season, the points deduction, was because the judge concluded that both parties couldn't put forward an adequate case in the time that was available. Yeah.
Right.
So what the Premier League have been doing with Manchester City is making sure, apart from the fact that City have presumably tried to frustrate the process by being a bit tardy on handing over information and stuff like that, it is to make sure that both parties are ready to prosecute or defend their case. Right. Now, Richard Masters, for the life of me, I don't know why he doesn't feel he can or should share the date of when that case will start, because clearly that gives opportunities for City themselves to brief journalists and get their own propaganda engine running and all those sorts of things. What we can anticipate, I hope, is sometime before the end of this forthcoming season, that case with Man City will have happened and the result will be known. And if the result is
concluded more than anything.
Yeah, and if the result is guilty as charged, then there's going to be a massive punishment for Man City.
It's going to be a complete decapitation.
Yeah, we should leave it there then, because we're just guessing now. Yeah.
Right. We're gonna leave it there. Nice one, Fletch. Take it easy, mate. Take care, pal. Ta-ra, mate. See you later. Ta-ra. Anyone else? Mike. Good final one. Mike, where are you? What are you saying? What's your question?
No.
Hello, Mike?
No.
No, he's got. Well, he's there, but he's not there. So.
Well, we know the system works. We just spent 3 days with Fletch, so.
Fletch is getting a bit worried there, but
he is.
The reality, I think
he doesn't have to worry as much as he's worried.
One of the things there that should have been really clear with, this thing hanging over Everton is nothing to do with a normal PSR. It's to do with interest on that the Premier League are contesting. Yeah. It's nothing to do with Everton breaching again and again.
No, it's
got
not.
Nothing to do with that. So wouldn't worry about it. They really wouldn't worry about it. If Everton were to get anything, I think it'd be a point.
Oh, we never got to it. 1 or 2 points it would be. Yeah.
But the reality is, it's almost impossible to give Everton a points deduction over something that is a legal practice. Whether they like it or not, it's irrelevant, really. It's legal.
Best practice.
So how do you convince other people that you don't like it? Well, yeah, but it's legal what they've done. It's best practice. Yeah, but I don't like it. It's best practice. Yeah, but I don't like it. It doesn't matter. That's just a fact. I don't like the fact Everton can't spend 500 million. But you have to get on with it.
And you know what's annoying about these things is there'll be a Substack article tomorrow, right? Yeah. So people can look for that.
Yeah.
But we've done the articles in the past. We interviewed Colin Brown in Australia, who was a partner at one of the largest accounting firms in the world, in Deloitte.
Yeah.
And he said this is complete utter rubbish. Didn't he?
Yeah, I remember.
And that video, it's our video, so you can see it. It's still there, right? It'll be out there. Just find it. Colin Brown probably says, or lawyer, accountant, whatever.
Yeah.
And he was, he's an Evertonian, but he was a partner at a top 6 accounting firm in the world. And he said, this is rubbish. This is bog standard best practice. It's international standards. Everyone complies with them in construction industry, blah, 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 blah. He's no idea what the hell the Premier League are talking about, right? And the reason is, and you just said it, they've got the ump, they don't like it, and they're spending money they could be spending on grassroots football, tens of millions of pounds on legal advice to chase down their own members over almost just a desire to be right.
The thing is,
it's mad.
I think what we're all
total madness.
What we're missing as well is the fact that this is all because they don't want an independent regulator.
Yeah.
That's been pushed to the side, this thing, and people have been focused so much on breaching this or breaching that. It's nonsense. This all started because they don't want an independent regulator. Now Labour government are in. Labour have put the motion, but it's happening. So they'd just be better if it retreating and basically just going, okay, let's get everything on the down low now. Let's take this down a level. We bollocksed it up last year and we had to hold our hand up.
They did.
We made a mess of it. We damaged our brand. It'll take years to recover because people just look at it and go, it's corrupt. And that's all from Richard Masters and his people who've agreed to damage the brand in the way that they did. Now, they need to just wind the necks in and go, let's keep everything down. Let's just start, because where was the uproar before they brought this in?
Yeah.
Of what was going on? There was no uproar. Everyone was just getting on with it, matey. Everyone was cracking on. Then they started going, hang on a sec. We better start doing this. We better do Forest for trying to stay in the league. We better do Leicester because I don't care about Leicester City. Leicester weren't buying 47 forwards for 900 million each, and everyone's going, what's happening?
And they got the ultimate sanction.
They were relegated. So no matter whatever Leicester were doing, they got relegated. Whatever Everton have been doing, we've been hanging on. We've had to have 2 final days to stay up.
Yeah,
2 final home games to win to not be relegated. So whatever we were doing weren't working, was it? Leicester weren't working. Forest have been close to getting relegated the 2 seasons they've been up, despite signing 811 players. It's not working. No one's cheating. Man City, again, I'm not sitting there going, they're cheats, but apparently they are, according to people who want to level that at them. They've been winning leagues, and you're more likely to go, well, hang on, something's not right there. Chelsea, 49 players. Todd Bowley come in 2 years ago. They've signed 44 players. 44. That looks like cheating to me. Bit more than what's going on. But they...
Isn't it the 11th or 10th most amount of money spent ever in the history of the Premier League?
Is it?
We're one place behind them for all of the Premier League.
For all of the Premier League.
One place above us just for Ted Bundy.
Just for Ted Bundy, yeah. If you ignore Roman Abramovich, look at the Ted Bundy, yeah. And he's only been there 2 years, and we know it's not Ted Bundy.
But we did.
But that my point being is you're looking in all the wrong things, aren't you?
Yeah.
You're looking and going there to blame. It's like, hang on a sec. Are they?
But Chelsea stuck their hands up when Bowley came in. They set aside £100 million fundamentally to pay fines they think they're going to get. UEFA dealt with them like that. A year later, Masters is saying, it's drawing to a conclusion. And you think, what's there to conclude? I know you haven't got a statute of limitations like UEFA has, so you have to look at a bit more. But fundamentally, what we're talking about is Chelsea, and it's claimed City have been doing the same thing. They've been passing PSR by telling lies.
Claims, yeah?
Yeah. No, that's what I just said at the beginning. This is the claim. By paying money off the books, all sorts of things. That's fraudulence and da-da-da-da. Yeah. That's the claims, right? So I guess, going back to almost what Glenn said, right, and we got through that, and then Fletcher was talking about how upset he is at City, in quotes, getting away with it. You've got to get City into court. They've got to have the best chance of defending it, because, as we know, what the Premier League have tried to do to us Evertonians, and Forest fans would say the same, wasn't right. How do we really know what they're doing to City isn't right either? And so let's see it in court.
See, I
bring your best lawyers, all that jazz.
See, I want to see a big line drawn under this for everyone.
Yeah,
I want to see
an amnesty.
I want to see it repackaged.
Everyone reset. Start.
I want to see it repackaged, and I want everybody to go. I don't know what the numbers are, okay. But I want it to be like, right, I'll just use a round number for argument's sake. Everyone can spend 200 million a year if you've got it. whether you're Forest, whether you're Ipswich, or whether you're Man City, right? Now, the teams at the top shouldn't be moaning because they've already got the run on everybody. So if they just do things as they're doing it, they still should keep the run. But the dream is there for everybody. Now, it might not work. Everton mightn't have 200 million to spend, but we should be able to if you can create that money. And that should apply to every football club. So there's almost like a leveling out. It won't happen because the teams have still got more money and more commit. But if you can't spend it, if City made 737 million, I think,
turnover,
turnover. But if you could only spend 200 million of that, well, that 500 is irrelevant, isn't it? To someone who made, say someone made 240, well, 40 million can go back, but we can still spend 200 million, the same as Manchester City. That would give it, I feel like it give it a more level, even though it isn't, it feel a little bit more like we've all got that chance. Because right now, Everton have dug a hole because of a stadium. Literally because of a stadium. It just doesn't feel like we can get out of it. Because, like, Fletcher's asking you, and you're going, yeah, but it's year 3 of 1, and it's year 2 of 1, and it's year 1 of 1. And you go, oh, hang on, I made a mistake 4 years ago, and you're still pulling. Like, what the fuck? How is that normal? And other clubs are brushing stuff under the carpet and going, nothing to see here, gov. And that isn't good, I don't think.
But they who set the rules.
No, I know it's
the clubs.
No, I know, but I'm saying it needs and this is why I think personally those clubs would still be safe in doing it this way because they've already got the run on everybody. We play in the same league, within the same city as our illustrious neighbours. Their wage bill's crazy compared to
Their wage bill is more than our turnover.
Right, crazy compared to us. But same league, we're in the same city. Pints of milk still cost the same as it does by Anfield. You know, it's all of that kind of stuff, but we're in the same league. Yeah, but their turnover.
They don't
and
want
the
a level.
But my point is, it won't be level though because they've already still got the run. It might bring us a bit closer to them, but if they still do things better than we do, they will still finish above us. When you do a correlation of where teams finish, in general, not always, in general, wage bill sets where you finish.
It's wages more than transfers.
Yeah, exactly. And so that's why I think, me personally, when we spoke about it on More Than a Game, I think Premier League's at a real knife edge now of where it is, of creating. You went through the points, didn't you, of the top 10
earlier today,
you know, when it was almost like bloody hell. You know, you said before there's 8 teams going for 4 Champions League places. 8. Now Everton have been 7th and not in the race for that, and 6th and not in the race, but now there's 8.
Yeah, for the last
and then
one.
There might be 3, 4, 5 who are mid-table, all looking for the Crystal Palace trophy.
And then the 5 at the bottom.
And they all want the Palace trophy. The 3 that come up are gone, basically.
Mostly.
Unless they have fair wins and a big load of luck, they're gone.
Yeah.
And you'll get a couple of teams who will underperform, and I'll be a bit worried for a few weeks, you know, near the end, but they'll get the wins because Ivan Toney will get a hat-trick, or Calvert-Lewin will score, whoever team's down, and they'll be okay. And the bottom 3 will be like, fuck, we got up and we had a good year, but we've gone back down with 150. And that, if that carries on and that gulf gets bigger and bigger, it gets even worse then, doesn't it? Then you start going, can't even get 8th because they're on too much money and the wage bill's so big. So I personally think it needs almost like a rebrand of this is how we're doing it now.
But that's only the clubs can do that.
Yeah, no,
and they're not going to.
Yeah.
Because, you know, we started one of these things off today. I lost bloody track of me, but whatever. Where we were talking about ambition.
Are you getting any of that fun?
No, not really. Doesn't matter. But about ambition, you know, we're saying, well, get this deep into cup competitions, maybe finish in this place. That's not very ambitious, is it? And all those sorts of things. Yeah.
Now,
that might... Baz is wrecking the place, right?
The fan has just... I didn't touch it. The fan just spun off.
Leave it.
Go on, carry on.
It's all right. But, you know, you got Everton fans, and I'm one of them. I hope you are, and him. We don't accept, do we, mid-tables where we're at? That's part
You're the one that said, I was going for the league. You said you'd be happy with mid-table and
I
a
didn't
cup.
say happy. I said where I thought we'd finish, which isn't the same thing. Anyway, but there are clubs whose fans are comfortable. You made the joke about Crystal Palace. No, Crystal Palace are going, we keep finishing 12th. Where's our ambition? They're really happy with 12th. So when the vote comes amongst the 14, they go and vote with the 6. We're actually happy, you know. Our owner takes a few bob out every year. He's chuffed. We don't have to buy lots and lots of players. We blood young talent and then we sell it. So we're happy. We have few exciting games. Our ground's a bit of a dive, but the atmosphere's fab because we've got wonderful fans and we enjoy our Saturday afternoons. For anything you want to make it more of a sporting balance, you know, we can all have the dream, or instead of it being 8 clubs can have the dream, 16 can have the dream, or whatever, because one assumes when the 3 come up, their first dream is to still be in it the year after. Of course. But then they want to be.
Then they'll have the dream.
Exactly right. So when it comes to divvying out the TV money, don't give it to the 6.
No, you're right. Me and Ped said this at the time.
Ped's had repeated it yonks of times how he'd do it, and his way is infinitely superior if you want to level it up.
Jack B, who's I think a Spurs fan, said Palace fans are raging lately about lack of ambition.
Well, there you go.
Starting to have protests.
Okay, so maybe it's caught up.
Everybody, it will, because at the end of the day, I think Ped was saying this yesterday or Monday, we're all paying more, we're paying more money to watch. It is an inferior product now. It is. If you watch it, it's crap. Premier League's shite if you watch it properly through clear eyes. Right, you'll have some great games, but in general, it's monotonous now. City win everything; it's crap, right? So we're paying more money.
That alone is an indicator of an issue when one club is winning the league.
If you go and look, what if they won? What if they won 7 of the last 8 or something like whatever that. It's Scotland by any other name.
Yeah,
right, and it's getting worse and worse. So it's a crap product. We're paying more money for a worse product. Our hope's getting worse and worse because Chelsea are on 49 players. You know, if you had to, we keep bringing it out. If we had to name 5 academy players on a bench, that would stop a little bit of stockpiling. So it'd make it slightly better because you'd be going. Well,
do you know what's the worst thing about this situation, right? About Manchester City and about Chelsea, just those 2 teams. No one can afford their offcasts.
No, that's it.
Never mind anything.
That is it. No, that's it.
We're getting linked with a fella who's on £300,000 a week. We can't even afford their offcasts because of the way football is now.
Yeah.
That ultimately is the top and bottom of what's wrong with football.
No, you're right.
I've been doing a podcast this afternoon and they're talking about Man United fans are in there. I don't know, and they're saying we've got offcasts, or we might want to sell this. Rashford, he's on £300,000 a week.
350,
350 a week.
80 million on 350.
Imagine we tried to get Romelu Lukaku now on loan. Not a chance. No, I don't mean the now version. I mean the version we
from years ago. No
chance. Not a chance.
Killed us. They killed us.
He'd be on £300,000 a week, and there's not a chance you could do that deal, which is just take him for a year, get him
fit and ready.
Can't happen. Someone Kelvin Phillips at 29 years of age coming on loan. It's not happening.
He's on 180.
Why is he on that money?
No, they'll have to. City have now said, haven't they? They'll pay most of it because they have to have a reduction.
But that's what's wrong with it.
No, it is. You're right. You're absolutely right.
Signing 9-year contracts. I hope Chelsea go bust. I genuinely hope they go bust because they are an example of an absolute Ted Bundy. I said to the Chelsea fan before, so what are you doing? Build a stadium, you mess. Build a stadium instead of
buying 800 players.
The whole of the world.
It is. Listen,
I'm not being funny. You could go to Africa and help create a new culture by buying half the players in the country. At least that's some left.
It is. It's mad what they're doing. They're paying astronomical wages. They're buying too many players. They've spent more money in the last 2 years than Everton have spent in the history in the Premier League, which is just ridiculous.
Totally.
Absolutely crazy.
Totally.
And that's where
every one of those deals has been approved by the Premier League. Yeah.
When they're under investigation.
Yeah.
Haven't they got 7 goalkeepers?
8. Bought the 8th goalie. They bought the 8th goalie.
If you have a day off, mate, they might have 9 tomorrow.
Liverpool are trying to do a deal for a goalie who's going to be on loan for Bournemouth for 2 years.
Yeah.
What?
That's because Liverpool's director of football's just left Bournemouth as the director of football.
It's incestuous. What is going on?
And what we want...
all that sounds like to me is a midlife crisis because the other fella they want likes hiking in San Sebastian. Get a grip. Come on.
I think, listen. We're trying to speak as passionate football fans who want that little bit of hope still.
Yeah, of course we do.
And we're getting... It's getting stamped out, I think, year by year. And unless someone grabs it and goes, look,
enough.
Let's try to put this back a little bit fair. It's,
Yeah.
like I said before, to be fair to Gary Neville on the overlap, he sort of did say this. He said if everybody could only spend the same amount, there was a limit, then at least everyone's... Doesn't matter it doesn't matter, right? If Ipswich Town, say they set it at 200 million, Ipswich owners might go, we can't afford 200 million. Yeah, but if you had it, you could spend it. No, you can't do this, you can't do this, you can't.
Outside could go, they look like a nice little attractive club. I'll go and buy them
Yeah.
on the cheap,
Yeah.
and I'll play Football Manager with them. But at least I've got a chance
To pay the
Whereas
money.
right now,
Yeah.
as Forest have proved, you can't come in and buy a club and go, I'll play Football
I
Manager.
spoke to someone on Monday night, right? I'm gonna finish now, but about Everton, right? Saying there was interest from the Middle East.
Recently, you mean?
Like 3 weeks ago.
Oh, right,
Like,
okay.
big money. Until he looked at the regulations of the Premier League and realised he wouldn't be able to spend it. And we're like, what's the point? What's the point? We'll own a Premier League club, but we can't spend any money. So there's no point.
That's where Newcastle are.
Because Newcastle are there now, aren't they? Their hands are a bit tight. City weren't, which is why it was great. You could have come in. Now, I'm not saying I want Everton to be owned by a Gulf state who come in and just go, loads of money, do whatever, by 48. I don't want us to be Chelsea. But someone should be able to come in and go, we can spend 200, we can spend 200 million a season for the next 5 seasons because we've got it. But so can 19 other clubs. So you still have to do things correctly. And those clubs, like I said before, who've got the run, shouldn't be worried about Everton spending 200 million if they can, because they've already got the run on us. We're already behind, you know what I mean? And that's how I think
think about Chelsea. You spend all this money and bring all these players to the door and all these contracts, and yet the fans own the pitch.
Yeah.
They can't sell that prime real estate. No,
that's the most hilarious.
They have to redevelop it.
Literal fan power is stopping that.
It's stopping them, yeah.
From selling that land.
But that's what makes that.
But those American owners could lift Chelsea Football Club up and move it to Newcastle if they wanted to. And a brownfield site, greenfield site, build a 100,000 seater stadium and say, actually, Chelsea fans, well done, you haven't got a club no more.
It's not going to happen.
Of course it's not. Of course it's not.
Right, that's us done. That's us done. Make sure you like, subscribe. If you haven't, we're moving towards that 100,000. Slowly moving, but we are moving towards it, aren't we? So that's the way we've got to look at it. But listen, thank you very much for joining us. We'll see you all tomorrow. Bye.
Bye.